Lesson 1. Flexing with the halter. Step 1 is stand back by the horse's flank facing the horse. Step 2, you slide your hand down the lead rope and pull to the horse's withers. Step 3, wait until the horse gives to the pressure and drop the rope.
Now, before we actually start riding our horse, we want to teach them a couple of things on the ground so it's easier for us when we go to teach them these things under saddle. Now, we're assuming our horse is quiet, we've done some groundwork, got his feet moving, lunging for respect, so forth. We've got him listening and paying attention. Here's one more piece of groundwork exercise that I want you to work on before you get on. I want to be able to teach my horse how to flex their head and neck with the halter. Then I'm going to teach him with the bridle. And then I'm going to be able to do a lot better success when I get on because they're going to have an idea what I've wanted them to do. Now, when we do this with the halter, I drop my halter down a lot lower on their nose. Okay? That way these knots on the nose bands will work off the pressure points of their nose a little bit better. The higher a halter is on a horse's face, the less leverage you have. The lower it gets on their nose, the more leverage you get. Now, I don't want it interfering with the soft part of their nose, but just where the bony part of their nose starts about there is where I like to have it. Now, the goal is what I want her to do is to flex her head and neck around to the side and be able to touch the girth or her belly with her nose. When I pick up on that rein, on that rope, I want to be able to pick up, ask my horse to give. The horse keeps their feet still, bends their head and soften. So that's what I want the horse to be able to do. Now, why do we want the horse to do this? The reason is, if we can get a horse to isolate their head and neck from the rest of their body, meaning that you can get them to bend their head and neck softly without moving their feet, that's going to be a big control on being able to get your horse soft and supple, and especially when you go to do a one-rein stop, which is being able to slide your hand down and get the horse to come to a stop with one rein. So I like to teach them with the halter, then I like to move on to the bit. Once I've done that, then I'm in a lot better shape to teach them the same exercise when we ride. So in the beginning, what I want to do is I'll step back here and I'll ask my horse, I want to step back near their flank and I put my right arm over the horse's hindquarters, slide my hand down the halter, and I pick up my hand towards the saddle like this. Now she's tipped the nose a little bit, but she's kind of hanging on it. So I'm just going to wait, and as soon as she bends her head a little bit more and puts some slack in that lead rope, I'm instantly going to drop it. She's kind of leaning on it. She might move her feet. A lot of horses will do this in the beginning, is they'll move their feet around. That's very normal. You just kind of go with them. Okay, wherever they go, you walk with them. And I just hold it there. Nearly there. Everybody see when she gave just then? So then I instantly release it and rub her. Okay, I'll pick up again. I'm just going to move it for the camera here. So I'm going to pick up, hold it, and wait. There's another little give. Good girl. It's very important that you instantly release that rope, that lead shank, when they give. Good one. Now, every time she gives, she should give just a little bit further towards where her belly is. Wait. There. Very good. Now, this mare picked up on it pretty quickly, okay? And a lot of other horses are going to give you more resistance. That's very normal. Just stay with them and wait until they soften that head and neck. Wait. See, she's trying to touch the shoulder. I'm not going to pull any harder. I'm just going to wait. I want her nose to come back near the stirrup. There we go. As soon as it does, instantly drop it. Good girl. The quicker you release, the quicker the horse understands they've done the right thing. Pick up and wait. She's giving, but I want a little bit more give. There we go, just like that. As a general rule, let them straighten their head and neck out for probably 4 or 5 seconds before you ask them again. Wait. See, if she touches her shoulder, that's not the point I want. I want her nose to come back here. So if I can get her soft on this halter and lead rope, then when I put the bit in her mouth, it's going to be pretty easy to teach her the same technique. Pick up, ask her to soften, there we go. So once I get one side pretty good, then I'll move on to the other side. Yet again, some horses are going to give you a lot more resistance than what she is, and that's pretty typical. So just stay with them. If the horse moves around, you stay with it right beside him. There we go. There. So now I'm going to change sides. Remember, whatever you do on one side of the brain, you must redo it on the other. A horse has a split brain. They have a left side of their brain and a right side of their brain. You must teach each side of their brain independently. Teach one side, teach the other side, glue them together, and hopefully now you've got one brain, okay? So, whatever we do on one side, let's do it on the other. So I'm going to ask her to step across here. I'm going to point, create a little energy here. She's respectful enough that she moves out of my personal space. So now, I'll get my rope. I usually double it over, put it over their hindquarters. You want to stand back here. If you stand up too close, it's going to be hard for them to bend. Slide your hand down, ask for a little bit of bend. Remember, whenever you change sides, they're not going to be able to do it as good as the other side when you first teach them. So I'm not going to pull any harder. I'm just going to wait for her. There was just a tiny little bit of give just then. Make sure you have a lot of slack in that lead rope. Pick up, wait. So if you haven't followed along with my groundwork series, okay, it's very, very important that you can at least do this, because this is going to make your job when you get under saddle much, much easier. Remember, the better your horse is on the ground, the better they're going to be under saddle. Wait. If a horse goes to move around, you walk with him. Good girl. I want you to drop that rein like it's burning your hand. Pick up again. Now I'm going to wait there. That was a little better. Every time my head comes around, I'm looking for it to come around a little closer towards where the girth and latigo is. If you want to shorten up your lead rope, just grab it and pull it through your rope hand like that. Wait. She's trying, but that's not a good enough try. That was. Good girl. Slide my hand down, pick up. So she's bending her head, but why am I not releasing? Because this is a false give. So I'm not going to release until she gives me extra slack in that lead rope. There we go. Just like that. Just because a horse bends their head and neck does not mean that they're softening to you. They could be pulling on your arm. Good girl. All horses are going to be a little stiffer on one side than the other, so just be patient and stay with them. So she's starting to catch on to that now, okay? So I'm going to spend another 5-10 minutes here just getting her to be real consistent. When I pick up, she gives. Now in the beginning, when you first pick up, you may have to wait 10-15 seconds before they eventually stop and give. Remember the two things that is very important. The horse must first keep their feet still, that's step one. Step two is they must soften their nose. If they soften their nose and give, but their feet are still moving, do not release the lead shank. Make sure their feet stop and then they give. Pick up again. So I'm going to work with her now off camera for about another 10 or 15 minutes, just practicing maybe 10 flexes on each side. I do this a lot. You cannot do too much of this when you first put the halter on your horse. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get the bridle out and repeat the same thing. Common mistakes that people make when they teach this are this, is what they have a tendency to do is they end up pulling the rope over the horse's back like this. Keep your hand on the same side of the horse's spine as that you're on. Usually when I've got the saddle on like this, I pull right in the, basically in the middle of the saddle, like that. Another common mistake I see people make a lot is they want to pull the horse's head all the way around like this. Well, she can't give anymore because I'm pulling it so tight she can't possibly give anymore. As a general rule, once your horse starts to get soft, you never want to pull it more than 3/4 of the way around. That last quarter, I want her to give by herself. Now in the beginning, some horses are so stiff that you're not going to be able to physically pull their head around at all. You might just get them to bend 10 degrees. But when they give, they're just going to give a little bit and you'll drop it. And each time they give, you wait till they give just a little bit more each time until eventually they'll be able to touch their belly.